Welcome to the Post Sports Chat. I'm Drew Rubenstein with Ed Owens, and we're in Bill Snyder Family Stadium, where the Mountaineers just dropped their third straight game, falling to the Wildcats 35-12. And Ed, we'll start with WVU's offense. Different game and similar story where they just really didn't get things going. What was kind of the catalyst for their downfall here?
We talked about it before the game. They needed to get the run game going. They didn't do it. They needed to get the pass game going. They didn't do it. You saw a lot of what Kansas State successfully did against Baylor. They just weren't able to get any momentum. Really struggled, particularly in the second half. They've been outscored 28-0 in the fourth quarter of their last two games. So this offense just has nothing going for it at the moment.
And one of the things that I kind of wondered was it's always hindsight's 20/20, but when you look at some of the coaching decisions, or maybe it wasn't even necessarily coaching decisions of the last couple games, particularly today, WVU's up 9-7 late in the second quarter, have a chip shot field goal, and they do a fake field goal, and they don't get the first down. Also had missed an extra point, so rather than going into the halftime up 13-7, they find themselves in a 9-7 game, and then things just kind of sputtered out of control from there. WVU's blunders here, how much of it does fall on the coaches?
Dana took full responsibility for the fake field goal. Mike Molinari he thought he saw something in the defense that they had seen on their previous field goal attempt. Dana said that they just didn't get the communication down right, and when it comes down to communication issues like that, that is the coaching. I mean, those are things that they need to figure out, things they need to clean up. I think this whole thing comes down to coaching at the moment. I mean, that they're the ones who put the players in the positions to make the plays, and fortunately they take the credit for it, they take the blame for it. So right now the coaches are kind of tasked with figuring this out and getting them going down the stretch.
One of the things that kind of stuck out to me was WVU coaches were preaching trust all last week leading into this game. Now the Mountaineers have lost they're 5-11 their last 16 games, and you just have to wonder, I guess, the level of trust that there is when Clint Trickett, he's pulled late in the game, and the game wasn't even out of hand at that point. I mean, it wasn't decided, I guess I should say, at that point. WVU's down 16 points, and the guy that you've labeled as a starter for 4 straight weeks, you yank him and you put in a cold Paul Millard to try to lead you to victory. I thought, where does this leave them, I guess, in that quarterback situation?
I think we're going to look at another week where we're heading into it and have no idea who's going to be the starting quarterback. Both Dana and Shannon Dawson said that the reason they went with Paul was because they wanted to run the 2-minute offense. They wanted the communications better with Paul. They thought they needed to kind of hurry up and hopefully kind of spark the offense. It didn't end up working. But I think that means you're going into the TCU game next week, again, just having no clue who's going to be the starting quarterback for this football team.
Yeah, I guess if you're saying those things about Paul Millard when you're down 16, it makes you wonder if what's different when you're starting a game. But obviously they're just kind of going back to scratch, not a place they want to be going into the 9th game of the season. Let's flip it around on the defensive side of the game. It seems like it was a replay of the Texas Tech game where they play well for a half and then they just fall apart in the second.
Almost carbon copy. Kansas State converted 7 of 8 third downs in the second half, including 7 in a row. They scored 4 unanswered touchdowns. If you go back a week ago, you're looking at almost identical numbers to what Texas Tech did against WVU. They're searching. Keith Patterson said he has no idea what's going on. They don't know how to fix it. They don't know really what the problem is, why they can't get off the field. But it was 2 distinct halves today. In the first half, they got off the field on third down, and they had a lot of success. In the second half, they just completely fell apart, and again, for the second week in a row, late game collapse, and they lose it there.
What did today teach us about WVU's pass defense? They went up against Baylor, and Texas Tech gave up a lot of yards. Kansas State, not known to have a great passing offense. They complete 18 of 21 passes and get lit up by 2 great receivers.
And Kansas State did it with 2 different quarterbacks as well. Jake Waters, who went into the game as the known passing threat, had the more successful day numbers-wise, but then you had Daniel Sams, who also went 8 for 8. So when you're completing 100% of your passes and you're the rushing quarterback, I mean, it shows that pretty much anybody can go out there and have success against these guys right now. They've got a lot of struggles. There's a lot of miscommunication. They don't really seem to have the answers. And at first we were wondering if maybe it was just related to the really good passing offenses they were facing. But right now it looks like just about anybody can do that.
Last one for you, Ed, kind of where WVU goes from here. They're 3-5, got to win 3 of their last 4 to make a 12th straight bowl game. Do they do it?
Right now, based on what we saw, I do not think so. I think going into TCU next week, they're going to face a better defense than they saw tonight. Then they're going to face a tough Texas team. If they lose their next 2 games in a row and that bowl game's out of contention, I think you have to start wondering about how they even show up against teams like Iowa State and Kansas down the stretch. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if they won out, because we have no idea what this team can do, but at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if we have seen the last win out of this West Virginia team.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to wonder about their morale. Thanks a lot, Ed, and please continue to check TheDPost.com. Thanks for watching today.